is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, we are back. Welcome, everybody, to the weekly PWCC Hockey Auction Ending Watch Party. Today is Sunday, May the 21st, 2023. My name is Jeremy Lee, and we are going to get right to it and bring out my co-host, Josh Madigan. Welcome back to the show. How have you been doing this weekend so far, my friend?
I'm awesome. Glad to be back. Glad to talk some hockey cards. Been a beautiful weekend here in the Twin Cities. Hit the golf course a couple times, so life is good.
Very nice. It's a beautiful day here. I went out this evening. It said it was 34 degrees. Now, that is Celsius.
Yeah.
That's 34. Double it, add 30 is, what's that, like 96 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, that just might have been because my car was sitting in the sun.
Sure.
But it's right now 26. That's like 80 degrees. So not too bad here in Calgary, Canada. A nice day. Went out and taught my kids how to fly a kite today, if you can believe that. We had a good time. So, cool. But it is now hockey card night on Sports Cards Live on the PWCC platform. There are 222 cards up for auction tonight. Extended bidding starts in 28 minutes. I've selected, with your approval, 47 cards that are of particular interest. So, like, I don't know, what is that, about 20, just over 20% of the auction. And there were a few others that I looked at, but I thought it's too much. I know what we can handle on a show for about an hour and a half. So let's get to it, which we will. Jake Dahl in the house. What's going on? The Loud Collector. What's going on, buddy? Good to see both of you guys here in the chat already. You know, before we look at the cards, Josh, let's talk about the playoffs for a moment. We are in the conference finals, the final four, if you will. And in both of these matchups, we're at a 2-0 lead in the series. So Florida's up 2-0 right now on Carolina, and Vegas, as of today, is up 2-0 against the Dallas Stars. My favorite team left. Not that I'm a Dallas Stars fan, but I just love the makeup of that team. And I was saying, as I was just saying to you before we went live, you know, if Dallas can get past Vegas and Florida gets past Carolina, I'm worried for Dallas. I don't know how they're going to defeat this, as you put it, this team of destiny, which seems to be the Florida Panthers. They just seem to be playing right. Their goalie is on. Bobrovsky is on absolute fire when it counts, making him the best goaltender to ever play in Florida, in the whole state of Florida. I say that tongue in cheek. I know there's a lot of Vasilevsky fans out there. But what do you think? How have you been enjoying these conference finals so far?
Well, it's crazy that every game has gone to overtime, number one. It would just feel weird now if a game ended in regulation. And I think, as I told you a few minutes ago before we started the broadcast, that I'm really enjoying the Carolina and Florida series. I like this Florida team. They hit everyone that is on the ice. They're constantly hitting people, and they're just scrappy. I love the flair of Matthew Tkachuk. So the last couple games, as he scored the overtime goal, and he goes immediately to the door to get off the ice and waves the team off the ice. That's the stuff that the league needs, and the type of personality that we need to showcase to, I think, help grow the game. And he's just been amazing. Bobrovsky, like you said, has been crazy. You would think if they win the Stanley Cup, he might be a Conn Smythe winner this year.
I mean, him or Matthew Tkachuk, right? I mean, this Matthew Tkachuk. I have a group chat with my buddies here in town. We're all Flames fans, and I made the comment. I said it's such a great feeling when your best player last year becomes like the best player on a team that's making a run for the Stanley Cup, and he's not on your team anymore. Like, isn't that just a great feeling as a hockey fan? Like, it's really sad, but I'm a Matthew Tkachuk fan. I loved him when he played here. I like his style. I like his passion for the game. And I'm, we got Mitch Grotman, who's a Florida Panthers fan in the chat right now. And I'm, outside of Dallas, like I'm rooting for a Dallas-Florida final. I think that's a best case scenario at this point for excitement. And then it's anybody's game. But again, I don't know how Dallas would overcome Florida right now. If I'm Mitch Grotman or any Panthers fan, I'm feeling pretty hopeful for our chances this year at this point in time. As long as Bobrovsky can keep on being the best goaltender to ever play in Florida, they can definitely get somewhere. As Loud Collector says, can't stop that Kachuk boy. No, he's good. We got Name in the house. What's up, Name? Good name. You. And Lapper is in the house. What's up? Aaron says, yeah, that good Kachuk bud. Yeah, well, he is good. He is a good player. Jake Dahl is going to check out the auction tonight and see if there's anything he wants to bid on. I wonder if there is, Jake. Well, you might want to let us know. You might not. I understand that as well. I like this. Mitch says he's feeling great. As you should be. I think I think it's justified. I think it is justified. Maybe 21 on Dallas could wake up. Who's 21 on Dallas? Is that
Robertson? He scored a goal the last 2 games. But he had gone 8 playoff games previous without scoring a goal. And just getting back to Kachuk really quick, what I'm really excited about from the hobby angle is that he's starting to go on a little bit of a run here, that people are snatching up some of his nice cards. He's seeing a value increase. And really the 3 guys right now that are making the biggest jump, because we just did the research for our show, are Kachuk, and then Rope Hintz from Dallas, and Eichel's been on a little bit of a run for Vegas too.
Yeah, well, it's kind of nice to see some other guys getting some hobby love too, for sure. And as back to Robertson though, an 8-game run without a goal, yet 2 series wins during that time, and then 2 goals in this series so far. So it seems like he has woken up, but now he has to really open those eyes wide and lead his team to a win instead of an overtime loss. So, well, we'll see what happens, but let's bring up the PWCC auction, guys. And we're going to run through some of these. So let's just jump in as we do, Josh. And the oldest card that I found interesting this time was this Bobby Orr 66 tops. It's in a 1.5 PSA holder. But let's take a quick look at this because, it is a little bit beat up, but this is not the worst 1.5 I've ever seen. And the reason I say that is the centering. It's got great centering. Now, yes, of course, the corners are pretty chewed up here. This top edge has a lot of edge surface wear. It's got it's got the wear as you would expect. You got a big crease coming through right over here, a little bit of a scratch over here. And again, this is only what I can see. I'm sure there's more. I don't know if there's a little bit of a tear or just some wear on the bottom edge over here and all the way across the bottom. But again, this is a 1.5. It's in fair condition. I like it for a 1.5. I really do. It's, some people might refer to this as a beater copy. I don't think it's quite a beater. I think it's a little bit above being a beater copy. So we'll come back we'll get Josh's thoughts when I'm done we'll go row by row. Next is 1970 O-Pee-Chee Daryl Sittler rookie. Hall of Famer, of course, PSA 8, near mint to mint. This card looks pretty nice. Let's open it up and just take a closer look. It's got that, that romantic, if you will, O-Pee-Chee rough cut across the right edge, the bottom edge, the left edge, and the top edge. This card is O-Pee-Chee at its finest, centering wise. There's some clocks tilt, a narrower border up here than down here, and the opposite, it's narrower down here than up here. But it's graded an 8. Is that within 8 standards? Probably. I'm not 100% certain, but I would think probably. Otherwise, card looks pretty good from a just overall image perspective. I'm seeing something a little bit weird here. Josh, are you seeing this blue in the hair over here and some blue down the side here? I don't know. I would think that's registration, but ink or something. I'm not sure. Anywhere else where there's registration anyway. So, but we'll get Josh's thoughts in a second. And then finally, we've got this BVG 9 O-Pee-Chee Bobby Orr from 1972. I'm not a fan of the design this year or the color, the beige colors, but this is still one of those cards where people that are working on the player run are going to want this, and this is in very high grade. Of course, we have to ask, because it is in a Beckett holder, is it a sheet cut card or is it pack pulled? I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is definitely a sheet cut card, so not pack pulled. But again, as we've discussed many times on this show and elsewhere in hobby content, it just comes down to collector preference. And some people are very happy to add sheet cut cards to their collection, and Beckett is more than willing to grade and slab them. And if that's for you, then this is a great addition to your Bobby Orr run. Josh, we've got 2 Orrs and this O-Pee-Chee Sittler. What do you think?
I agree with you on the Bobby Orr. I think, what did I mention last week? If you have a champagne taste in cards, but a beer budget, that's probably a really good option for you. And it's one of the top, 3 most iconic probably cards in all of hockey card collecting. So I would call it's definitely a loved card. It was used and cherished by whoever owned it. So, like I said, I think that's a good option. The question I have on the Sittler is, is there a point with the rough cut where a grading company like PSA will actually start to penalize the card if it's too rough? Cut?
I don't think so, man, because we've seen some with the amount of Gretzky's that we've looked at and that have been, that trade hands in the hobby. We've seen some pretty nasty natural O-Pee-Chee rough cuts, and I haven't noticed a penalization for that at all. I think it's one of these just widely accepted things in the hobby. So, but it's a good question. I haven't seen it though.
And then on Sittler, I kind of have a question for you about him. Where would you put him in the pantheon of Maple Leaf greats? Help me understand I know he's a Hall of Famer. I know he is a Maple Leafs legend, but where does he kind of fit in the order there?
He's right up there. He's right up there because who have they, there's Dave Keon, there's Frank Mahovlich, there's Daryl Sittler, and then you go through the 70s and you got Boreas Salming, who was great. Lanny McDonald played there for a little while. But then I'm going through the rookie cards each year in hockey. In the 70s, I see nothing else. And 80, there's nothing. 81, 80, there's Laurie Boschman, didn't play there very long. Rick Vive in 1980 as well. But Rick Vive is not, I don't think, on the level as Daryl Sittler. 81, there's really nobody. 82, there's nobody. 83, nobody comes to mind. 84, Doug Gilmour was in St. Louis at the time. Gary Lehman was there, but he's not there. 85, you've got, I think, Ally Afraidy, but didn't last there very long. 86, you got Steve Thomas. And then you got, Matt Sundin and Wendell Clark and Doug Gilmour, of course. They're not the Montreal Canadiens. They don't have that rich history of Hall of Famers that the Montreal Canadiens had. So Sittler's right up there, in my opinion.
Okay.
Anything on the 72?
Yeah, it's a fine card, and I agree with you. It does appear, you never know, that it was sheet cut. The one thing that, now that I guess know what I know, a couple years really into studying this, I find for new collectors that I wish that Beckett had more consistency in their slabs. And as a new collector, where the difference between BGS and Beckett slabs and BVG and BAS, all these things get really, really confusing at times. And I think that especially newer collectors, that it can hurt cards like this. So it's more of a comment.
Yeah, because BVG also, sometimes people don't put it in the search, or they put BGS instead, or they only put BVG and people only search BGS. But the rule with Beckett, I believe, is anything from before 1980 is a BVG slab, and anything post 1980 is a BGS slab. Quickly, Card Guy, what's going on? Chad Shipper, Mitch says, I put Mahovlich, Sundin, and Salming above him, and that's it. Jake Dahl calls out Johnny Bauer as well, which is a good call. Lapper says Eichel has a rough cut on a lot of his young guns as well that can gem. Yeah, that's a different rough cut, though. It's a different type of cut than the Opeachy, but I know what you're talking about, Aaron. All right, next row. We have an unopened pack of 79 tops, the Gretzky year in a GAI 8. We've got a second year Opeachy Gretzky and a PSA 9. And we've got what you guys talked about on the Gong Show this week, the Gem Mint 10 Chris Chelios Opeachy rookie. All I want to do is, first of all, I collect unopened packs. I have this pack in my collection, but I have the Opeachy. I love unopened packs, not because I want to open them, because I love them for the memento that they are itself. To me, the collectible is the unopened pack. I don't collect wrappers. I'm not interested in wrappers myself. I want the pack as it was when I was a kid, going to buy them before I opened them up and demolished all that gum. As for the second year Gretzky, we're going to take a quick look at this one, and it's in a PSA 9 Mint 9 holder. So it's off center left to right, which is quite evident from looking at it here. Still within PSA 9. I think PSA 9 standards for the centering on the front is probably like 65-35, because a 10 can be as off center as 60-40 for them on the front. And this is definitely, within 9. I think their centering standards are pretty loose. So this is definitely within it. Edges and corners look great. Image looks good. A nice overall copy, if you're okay with your copy being off-centered. And then this Chris Chelios rookie card. Let's take a look at this thing. I mean, this looks like an absolute blazer from here. Slight, you got some Opeachy cut on the top. No big deal. Corners look good. Edges look really good. Registration looks good. Clarity, surface, all looks good. I'm seeing some very minor fisheyes. Nothing worth even pointing out. You can't even really see them. Centering's off a little bit. There's a bit of tilt, and it's off center a little bit to the right. But likely within PSA's pretty loose centering standards for a 10 at that 60-40 level. So, Josh, what are your thoughts on these three items?
Well, I think they're all great. On the 1979 Topps Wax Pack, the first question I have for you is GIA, from what I understand, and let me know if I'm wrong, they're seen as pretty reputable as far as grading companies for wax packs. Is that correct?
Yeah, back when they were around, they were, and their items are still respected in the hobby.
Okay.
Yeah,
and seen as authentic. That would be the I think biggest concern buying a pack would be that would it have been opened and then resealed or something like that.
And one thing worth pointing out before you move on, Josh, is that the GAI pack slab is actually like plastic. It's almost like top loader plastic. It's not rigid like a PSA slab is for a pack. So you have to be careful with your GAI slabs. They are not as protective as a PSA pack slab. I just wanted to mention that.
And in theory, I would love to collect something like that. But anytime I bought a pack, about 4 days after it comes, I'll be having a glass of wine, half a glass of wine in, and it'll be calling to me from the other room. And sure enough, I open it. So I can't help myself. And I wish I could, but I would open that 100% probably within 15 minutes after it got to my house. So would be a bad investment for me. The Gretzky card is awesome. I really like that card. It's again, man, it's so tough when you get into 79, 80, especially on the OPG side, to get a really good quality card that isn't going to cost a fortune. And, I think this is a great option, especially compared, of course, to the PSA 10. And then the Chelios is a card that we featured on the show. For me, that's one of my favorite sets ever. We read through the list of rookies from that year, and man, I would be hard pressed to find another year that had a rookie class that is equal or greater than in 1984. What an amazing set and an amazing card.
Yeah, it's also my favorite set from the 80s. I also love the rookie collection in that set, but I will throw this out at you. The 1981 set is filled a lot of really great rookies in 81 as well. So And we'd have to actually do a battle. Maybe that's an idea for some sort of content show, Josh. We're doing a set battle, 81 versus 84 O-Pee-Chee hockey. Okay, before we go on, the Loud Collector says he's the high bidder of that pack. You only live once. Card guy asked him, are you going to open it? And he said, absolutely. I love it. And Jeff McMahon lets us know that Daryl Sittler is definitely a top 5 Maple Leaf of all time. And yeah, I think that's a gimme right there. All right, next row. We got 3 sort of oddball cards. I love these oddball cards. The SI for Kids, Wayne Gretzky from 1989 in a BGS 9.5 holder. I just think it's just a cool card. It might be, I'm not sure, but it might be his second ever card pictured as an LA King. Maybe it's even his first ever card picture as an LA King, depending on when it came out. But really, because the 88-89 O-Pee-Chee and Topps cards would have come out, at least O-Pee-Chee for sure, came out on Jan 1 of 1989. If this one came, this is 89, so probably a little bit later then. This is probably the second card of Gretzky featured in a Kings uniform. And then we got 2 box bottoms, both from O-Pee-Chee, 1990 O-Pee-Chee, Mario Lemieux PSA 8, and a Wayne Gretzky PSA 8. And let's take a look at these for a moment, or at least one of them, because I want to point out something. When it comes to a box bottom card, my understanding is that PSA will only slab them if there are some remnants remaining of the indicators that this is a box bottom card, meaning like a perforated line, which isn't actually perforated, but like a dash sort of thing, or something, or a bit of the next color. I don't see any on this one, and this is a brand new PSA slab. So maybe they've changed their standards because this doesn't meet what I thought were their standards, unless you can see something coming down the left side here. I'm just not sure. So nonetheless, we know this is a box bottom because of the color of the border. The regular series, those were white. And then the Gretzky, let's take a quick look at that, at this one. Same thing going on here. It's got some, they graded it an 8. There seems to definitely be some surface damage on this card right in here, up in here, unless this is on the holder, which it might be on the slab, but this is also a pretty new slab. I'm seeing more. I think this is on the card. I don't love this copy. The surface seems to have quite a bit of wear on it. So while I would have considered picking up this pair today, I would be very happy with the Mario, but I would not be going after the Gretzky myself. It's just too much wear on the surface, but still really cool. Josh, what do you think about these oddball type of items here?
Oh, I love them. I would love to know how the Wayne Gretzky got a 9.5 on corners and edges. Again, we talked about this before. It just seems impossible to figure out how to grade that since they're perforated.
Let's look at the corners. The corners, I mean, that corner looks to be good. This corner is pretty perfect, and there's no perforation on the edge. This was the edge of the page. That corner looks pretty good. This corner looks really good, and the top corner, there seems to be a little bit of fray right there, but still pretty good. I'm okay with those corners. I think the edges is where people have an issue. How can these edges be 9.5? Well, I don't know what Beckett's policy is on edges, but I'm wondering, and I just, for the first time ever, have I had this thought. Do they ignore the perforations, all like 40 of them or whatever, and only look at the between them and look at the edge between the perforations? If they're only looking at these edges, these little, 2 millimeter gaps between the perforations and saying those are good, and we're going to give a slide for the perforation because it's the only way they came, that actually makes sense to me. And even though it's not a clean edge, it's as good as it could possibly be, because you can also tell that this wasn't cut with scissors. These were actually torn off. You can just tell with all the fray coming off them, which I prefer that scissors weren't taken to these myself. So I can understand it and get behind it and support it even.
Well, I can too. And my question is more, how do you tell the difference between edges that are 9.5 and edges that are 9? It's like, what would the criteria be for that? I just think it's interesting, and I trust the grade on it too. And you're right, the corners and the edges do look really nice. And I said this before. When this came out, I was 13. I had a Sports Illustrated for Kids subscription, so I know I got this card in the mail too. And from that nostalgic reason, this is a card I would love to have.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna kind of draw the line and not go for it tonight, but one day maybe I'll pick one of these up. Your question about what's the difference between a 9.5 edges and a 9 edges and 8.5 and 8, it might just really come down to between the perforations and the unperforated edge, and then really counting how many flaws they find and saying, okay, if there's 1 or 2 flaws, it's not a 10, it's a 9.5. If there's 3 to 4, it's a 9, and so on and so forth. Maybe that's how they did it. Aaron said here, between the perforations, what crossed my mind as well. Mitch says, I think the grades for edges would be based on the spaces between the perforations. So yeah, that may, and I never considered that before right now. So Aaron and Mitch might have been way ahead of me, but this is that's what I think. And I'm going to kind of go with that for my own understanding, even though it might be wrong. But next time I talk to or see someone from Beckett, I'm going to ask that question. How about the box bottoms? Did you comment on those yet? No,
just a really quick comment on them. I like them because it kind of feels, so in today's card, when a set comes out today, there's a million parallels for every card. And these kind of feel like parallels to me in a good way.
Oh, that's
right. Just an alternative for the base card that you see endlessly, even though you can still appreciate them, just to have a little bit of a different flavor of them, I think is kind of cool.
I love that, man. You just like, I'm going to go with that now for my own understanding that the box bottoms are basically parallels. That makes a lot of sense. And that's another thing I'd never considered before in how to classify them. I'm just checking the population on this Mario Lemieux to see if I want to make a play at it. There's 31 higher. So I'm probably going to wait and see if I can snag a 9 or a 10 one day of this, but I really shouldn't worry about that. This looks like a very nice copy, but you just don't know what you don't see from a two-dimensional image. But this Lemieux box bottom is population 13 with 31 graded higher to anyone who might have been interested. The professor says, if it is okay to trim SI for kids sheet, who should do it? A professional. I don't know. I would just do it myself, professor. That's what I would do if I was going to, I would just do it myself very carefully. All right, next row, we also have another SI for kids. This is the Mario Lemieux from 1993. This is a PSA 10. So let's take a look at it just to see how those edges and corners are shaping up. And so let's see. Top corner looks good. I mean, there's perforations on them, but the corner itself seems to go all the way to the edge of it. The bottom right corner, something going on there that isn't a perforation, unless that's a print mark, like this print mark right above the cursor here. Can you see that little white dot? There's a print mark right there. Is that a print dot right there? I'm not sure. I mean, we're really getting to the details, but as I just scan the edges between the perforations, they all look pretty clean to me. Something not perfect there. Maybe, still maybe within PSA's standard for a 10. I don't think it's a perfect card, but PSA 10s don't have to be perfect cards. I think it's a cool piece for sure. I like it. Next up, we have a 2002 Upper Deck Premier Collection. This is the set that really was the predecessor to, sort of the predecessor to the Cup, I would say. Numbered out of 25, a very nice 3-color patch, $180 right now, 1 of 1 in an 8.5, none graded higher, only 25 copies. But this is a really nice patch card as far as any Lemieux card go. And this is a nostalgic design now for a lot of people, including myself. And then finally, the McDonald's Sidney Crosby rookie card in the BGS 9.5. This is one of the few food issue cards that was granted RC status by Beckett back in 2005 or 2006. There was a whole big thing made about that. Josh, your thoughts?
Love the Lemieux as well. It really speaks to the era and just how flamboyant from neon colors and, the 1993 period was. I don't, the design. I appreciate the Lemieux patch card. It's probably not my favorite design, but definitely for the time period, I can see that it's something that a lot of people would go after. And on the Crosby, again, this is where, as an American, we don't have the McDonald's card. So explain that to me. Like, what's the whole? I know Tim Hortons because I've been to Canada now a few times and spent $1 billion getting coffee every morning and buying packs of Timmy's.
Same,
But
yeah. So it used to be a McDonald's partnership that it then migrated over to Tim Hortons in the last several years. But McDonald's was making hockey cards all the way back to the early 90s. Every year there'd be a set. And in 05, 06, they put out a set, and there was a Sidney Crosby card, and there was a push from a lot of people in the hobby for Beckett to give it the RC designation, and they were resisting at first, and then I don't remember the everything that happened exactly, but they ended up giving it the RC designation. Beckett Magazine did, and it stuck. So it's considered, I think, one of his 21 or so official rookie cards. The McDonald, and it's not hard to get. There's plenty of them out there. It's not a rare card by any means.
So McDonald's is no more. That's now Tim Hortons.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, moving along. Got a couple of rookie year Alexander Ovechkin cards. This is the rookie authentics from SP Authentic, numbered out of 250, on card autograph. This is a beautiful card, full body shot, which is what you see a lot in SP Authentic. $1,000 right now. And then we've got an Ultimate Collection jersey or a patch card out of 75 with a very nice patch, a ton of detail in this one. Numbered out of 75, pop 1 of 2. So only 2 of these in the BGS 8.5 with only 3 graded higher. Currently at $600. And then we've got 3. We're going to just kind of get a peek here to the next row. 3 Sidney Crosby Young Guns, which are just fun to look at and compare them to each other and see how the subgrades kind of work out and balance out, and maybe inspect the card a little bit itself, which we may do. But before we do that, I want to get Josh's thoughts on these Ovechkin cards.
Really like the SP Authentic rookie auto. I just think that it's an amazing card. It's a great design. You're right. It has that full body shot of Ovechkin, but also has a lot of room for the auto. So I think that it's a auto card that sometimes cards feel like they ran out of space trying to get everything fit in the allowable area. The patch card is cool as well. Yeah, like I said,
here, let me just show that for a second. Okay, so 44 of 250. Josh was just referring to how much room they left for the autograph, yet squeezing in the full body shot. Yeah, this is a well-designed card.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And stuff like that. The thing I think about is what's this going to be like fast forward 12 months from today, and if he scores 40, 45 goals next year, it's one of the big unknowns, and one of the reasons why I'm so excited for the hobby, and that just to go along with Bedard, and you still have McDavid and all these young talents, but you got this guy who is still approaching what many thought was an untouchable record. And he's going to, the closer he gets and the more real it comes, and the more we start to understand, get an idea of when exactly it's going to happen. Like I said, to me, it's one of the big unanswerable but fascinating questions in the hobby is what's going to happen to this guy's market. Are all these types of cards just going to go bananas?
I think we'll see something going on there leading up to, like you said, a 40, 45 goal season this year. And you're going to see another run up of demand for his cards. I definitely believe so. A question came in from Mitch related to the Crosby McDonald's card. He says, do you think the official RC designation is important at all in 2023? So I have 2 answers to this. One is, yes, Mitch, I think it is important because people in the hobby put importance upon it. But my personal answer is, nah, I've lost desire to own RC cards. There's so many rookie year cards that I like so much better than rookie cards that I don't really need rookie cards anymore. I'm just as happy with a rookie year card that I like more. So is it important? It is important. There's just no doubt about that. It is still important in our hobby, but for me, it's just not. And maybe that's where I'm at in my collecting journey. What are your thoughts on that, Josh?
I would ask, who's the arbiter of that? Who decides?
Everybody for themselves.
And where I think that that whole concept has been diluted is any rookie year card on eBay, which is where most people see the title of the card written out, is going to be rookie. Nobody's going to list something like this and say 2005 Upper Deck McDonald Sidney Crosby rookie year card, but not true rookie card. No, they're going to be like 2005 Upper Deck McDonald Sidney Crosby rookie, like they do in the post here. And so I think that whole concept, because of really probably eBay, has been lost.
Yeah, I think there's some, I think that makes sense. Lapper pipes in and says, that's a good question. When you see prices of the Future Watch auto tributes, you got to wonder. Personally, I do not care. But yeah, there are so many awesome rookie year, non-rookie cards, rookie year, non-rookie cards that are well worth it. But what Aaron's talking about here isn't even a rookie year card. He's talking about like a rookie themed a rookie themed or rookie tribute card, which, I mean, the Gretzky Future Watch auto, all-time Future Watch auto sells for more than PSA 6s of his rookie card, OPG. So yeah, how much? I don't know. It's a great question. That Mitch, there's a topic for the Essential Credentials Instagram collector roundtables right there. That's one I'll jump in on for sure. Okay, let's keep on going. We've got the 3 Crosby Young Guns. Let's just take a peek at these 3, Mitch. I'm going to open them and I'm going to try and look at them sort of quickly because I want to make sure we get through all these cards. And extended bidding is now 7 minutes old, everybody. So here's the BGS 9. Centering is a 10 on these. This is a centering 9, and this is centering a 9.5. So we have 3 different centering scores, and let's see how they look. And so I'm going to look to this guy's shoulder, sort of the dip on his shoulder. Seems to dip right down a couple millimeters. This one dips right down. This one, maybe not quite as dipped down. So this is the 10. That kind of makes sense to me that this is the highest grade because at least it's different than these two. These two, we're seeing more of a shift to the left of the card itself. Top to bottom, I'm just kind of going to look at even the bottom here, the thickness of the bottom part of the O and the E and the S there. Looks to be pretty similar across all 3. I'm not seeing any difference on top to bottom. But on the 9 and the 9.5, I mean, these to me are centered exactly the same. So I'm not sure why Beckett gives one 9 and one a 9.5. That just might be, who's grading it on the day they're grading it. There's not a lot of, I don't know how much guidance there is. It also could be when it was graded. Other attributes here, edges 9. Let's see these other ones, 9.5 and a 9. Corners 8.5, 9.5, 9.5. And surface 9.5, 9.5, 9.5. So what I recommend for people choosing to pick up one of these 3 Crosby Young Guns, don't mind the grade so much. Look at the card. And considering that this centering has a 10 on the lowest overall score, the centering to me is not so important on this card with the full bleed sides here. It's harder to tell. I'm also not sure what's going on the top edge right there. My eye goes to this little guy right up here. So I would definitely go for one of these 9.5s, I would think. And you just got to decide which one you like better. And then finally, there's the Rookie Ink from Upper Deck. This is just a regular this is an Upper Deck flagship card, numbered out of 87. Rookie auto. It is not an on-card auto. This is a sticker auto. The card has a grade of 8. The auto has a 10, $675. Pretty cheap for a Crosby rookie year auto, even though it is a sticker. Josh, let's get your thoughts on these items.
Yeah, so can I say something controversial? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I the only one that doesn't like the Young Guns design from 2005. I've never said that out loud.
You might be in the minority. I like it personally.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with them.
I
think
like
they're
the
nice.
car. I mean, I actually like the image of Crosby. It's just never been and it's not unique to Crosby. Of course, it's the overall card design. Never been my favorite. A question I have and this was actually a mailbag question we had last week, but I thought it was super good. And I'd love to get your insight on it, Jeremy, is what's your thoughts on the short-term Crosby market? And when I say that, I mean like the next year or two, or maybe three. Over the long haul, he's a legend, all-time great. He'll be fine. But you've got Ovechkin, who's chasing the record, and there's going to be a lot of hype around that. And then you got Crosby, who's still playing well. But let's be honest. I mean, I can you see them making the playoffs next year? Like, what's going to be the buzz around Crosby collecting over the next year or two? And could that make his market a little bit soft?
Yeah, I
in the
think
short term.
I see it similarly to what we're seeing with LeBron James right now. Didn't have the best season. Had a good round or two in the playoffs, but now is looking like they're going to get maybe swept here in the conference finals, and that's not a great look for LeBron. I don't think it taints his legacy. I mean,
No.
he's an all-timer. Same thing with Sidney Crosby, but we're seeing a bit of a depression in his cards. Even over and above the regular where the hobby is at, the cycle. Crosby, I see similarly. If he plays next year, doesn't make the playoffs, produces on the decline compared to this past season, I don't think it's going to help his cards at all. He'd be better. The hobby or the values of his cards would be better off if he retired right now and said, kind of going out on top. I know he's not on top, didn't make the playoffs, but he's still a great player. That would get him closer to Hall of Fame induction. I think that would be best, but it's also going to be a buying opportunity, I think, for his cards
because
over the next couple of years, especially when you compare them to Ovechkin's and McDavid's. He's still got a great resume. He's still an all-timer.
That's a great way to look at it. And then on the upper deck card, again, I think it's another great rookie auto. Of course, would I prefer that it wasn't a sticker? Yes. But it's just a really nice looking card with a clean design and a pretty cheap Crosby rookie auto at this point.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Couple comments here. Mitch says, I agree with Josh because the words Young Guns isn't as noticeable as I think it should be. Yeah, that's an interesting point, and it can't disagree with that. Loud says, no, it's hideous, too noisy. 0304, best Young Guns design ever. Okay. Lapper says, just buy Sid and pat yourself on the back in 10 years. Like I believe that. I have a lot of Crosby cards in my collection because not only is he an all-time great, he's got the resumes. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, if not an exception, early entry, but I don't think they'll do that. But he could be that. He is that worthy, I believe. Oh shoot, where was I going with that? There was one other thing there.
Let me jump in while you're thinking about it. And again, I just want to be clear about it. My concern is mainly the team and really their ability to make the playoffs next year. You've got a team like Buffalo that seems like there's so much on the come up right now. They didn't even make the playoffs. And so when you think of what are the Eastern Conference teams that made the playoffs this year, and what are some of the other young teams that are on the come up, and it seems really bleak right now for Pittsburgh to me to make the playoffs. I just don't know how they're going to do that.
And that's legit. You can, so the other side of that is he could still have an 80-point season, 30 goals, 50 assists, maybe 35 or 40 goals, still have a great offensive year and not make the playoffs. And that's going to be okay. It's how much does he decline now that he's getting up in age? Sure. And the thing that I forgot that I was going to say before is that the other thing about Sid Crosby is that he's not going to do anything to taint his reputation. He's not going to get political. He's not going to, commit a crime. He's not going to say anything stupid. He's one of the most even-keeled guys there is. He's a consummate professional. So I think if you're looking to invest in Sidney Crosby long-term, and I think that who said it really well? It was Loud Collect. No, not that one. Whoever said 10-year. Oh, right here. Lapper said, yeah, when I'm talking about investing in Sidney Crosby, yeah, that 10-year horizon, I think it's fine. Right now, he's selling for about half of Alex Ovechkin. That wasn't the case always. He used to sell for double Alex Ovechkin. So anyway, Mitch says 07-08's his personal favorite Young Gun design. Newfie Sig says hard to compare LeBron's drop as his politics have him disliked by many. Well, yeah, Newfie, I know. I mean, listen, I'm not going to give a perfect comparison every time, but it's still what I mentioned still applied. Card Guy says as long as Crosby doesn't hang out with John Morant, he'll be fine. That's kind of what I was getting at, but not. He would never be seen with a gun. He's also well, I wasn't saying he's in Canada, but he's not. He lives a lot in Pittsburgh, I guess. And then Jeff McMahon says Buffalo and Ottawa are two teams on the rise in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, no doubt about that. Okay, moving along. Speaking of Mitch's favorite set, the 07-08 Young Guns, we have a Carey Price. We have a Mario Lemieux 07 Trilogy personal scripts numbered out of 25. And then we have a Steven Stamkos, the guy who used to be the king of the hockey card hobby for a couple of years there, in a Young Gun in a BGS 9.5 holder. So I don't really have anything to say about these three cards. I personally, I just don't collect Young Guns anymore, but I recognize a lot of people do. You know what you're going to get with your Young Guns, and they're very liquid, so there's good stuff there. Carey Price, definitely someone on the decline right now. I don't know if he's going to play another game of hockey ever again, but he's got that Montreal Canadiens fanaticism behind him. He will always be collectible because he was one of their goalies, one of their great goalies of all time in a long line of excellent goalies. I do like this card here. I don't think that's a sticker. I'm going to open it up just to kind of make sure. No, that's right on card. Numbered out of 25. This is a beauty. Absolute beauty. Look at that thing. Josh, what do you think of these cards?
The Carey Price card we talked about on our show, and mainly from the point of view that, so every month, because I'm crazy, I look up the total cards sold for about 300 players, and we do our top 25 list. And we've done it for, I want to say 10 months now. And I don't think there's been a month where Carey Price hasn't been in the top 25 players with most cards sold in a month. So he's still just so to your point, Jeremy, so many people chase him that, and given he hasn't played in a year plus or whatever it's been now, it's kind of crazy to me because usually it's sort of out of sight, out of mind. And I really, really like the Lemieux card. I think that it's a real pretty card. And if you wanted a real nice Lemieux autograph, boy, it'd be hard pressed to do better than that.
Agree. Let's go to a couple comments. Name says Carey Price. Let's go. Lapper says, looking at teams making playoffs today, I'd say is more like a trader mentality versus long-term hold. For me, Sid, McDavid, and Ovechkin, you'll be okay. The rest, who knows? I mean, even Austin Matthews is questionable right now. What's going on with that Maple Leafs team? I'm talking about like the investing angle on these things. Like, how good is he going to be moving forward? Yeah, we will see. I think that's a great comment from Lapper. Newfie says, I PC current and future Young Gun Hall of Famers. Would love to have that pray. And I think Carey Price is going to make the Hall of Fame. I don't know that I would vote him in personally. I don't know that he's done enough in the NHL, but people will argue he's got his personal awards. But no Stanley Cup. Not that you need a Stanley Cup. I don't know that he's going to get in, but I don't know. We'll see. Mitch says from back when Trilogy was actually considered a higher end product, talking about the Lemieux, and Loud Clug says Austin Matthews is a plug. Down goes the hobby pricing. I mean, we'll see. It's still Toronto. There's, I don't know. We'll see. Loud Collector. I'm not 100% sure they'll go down. Maybe short term here. Josh, any further comments?
No, we can move on.
All right. And we do have Matthews cards to look at shortly here, guys. All right. We have a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins SP Authentic Future Watch Auto in a 9.5. And, this Nugent, I said a few minutes ago, Stamkos used to be king of the hockey hobby. Nugent-Hopkins was also king of the hockey hobby for about a year or so. back when he was a rookie, and almost came out of nowhere. You know, he was the first overall pick, but he came out of nowhere from, in my recollection, to become that, like, up until 6 months before the draft. I don't know if I'd ever heard of him, but that was just me. But nice card, probably good value because he's so overshadowed in Edmonton. A very nice Bobby Orr Ultimate Collection Signatures card, just a simple autograph, but it's beautiful in its simplicity. BGS 9. And then the Connor McDavid Exquisite Collection RPA, nice 3-color patch on card auto at a 97. $18,000 for this card so far. Well, 21.6 with the buyer's premium. BGS 9 with the low grade being, ooh, look at that. This would be a max 9, I believe. Oh no, corners are an 8.5. I thought that said 9.5. Corners are an 8.5, surface 9, edges 9, centering 9.5. You know, I care about corners less and less as the card gets thicker and thicker. Edges look fine to me, even though they're graded a 9. I'm not seeing anything that would like cause my eyes to go to them. Surface, tough to say why it's not higher than a 9. And centering at a 9.5, great. I love this card. I love it. And to me, this is a nicer card than his Cup rookie, yet is going to sell for about 10% of the price, or maybe 15 or 20. 3 decent cards here, Josh. Anything you'd like to point out?
I love the Future Watch auto design in 2011. The Bobby Orr. What I think is interesting and unique about the card is you rarely see an autograph signed at that angle, which just makes it stand out in a, I don't know if it's just me or why I pick up on weird stuff like that, but it just makes it interesting to look at because it's not what you would expect in an autograph. And so I appreciate that about that card. And then on the McDavid Exquisite, I too prefer this card. The only thing that's always bugged me about this card is I don't like how they have the text under the autograph in it. It takes away from really appreciating the autograph, in my opinion. But I'm a huge Exquisite fan in general, and so of course I love the card.
I agree with you on the text under the autograph. But that's like I think for you too, for me, it's like a minor complaint. You know, still a beautiful card overall, and I could easily get past that. But I do see what you're saying, and I do agree with that. All right, so that's the end of page 1. That's pretty good. Before we go, the Eliminator says Carey Price should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. No question. He carried a bad Habs team for years. And he will get in. He will get in. I'm confident of that. Mitch says, surprised the McDavid Exquisite didn't make it to the Premier auction. Yeah, that is interesting. I'm wondering why not. I think it's up to the consignor to decide which auction to put it in. And for whatever reason, maybe they didn't want to wait for the next Premier. I'm totally speculating. I have no idea. But let's go to page 2.
I've actually got a quick theory on that.
Oh, please.
If you look at the Premier versus the Weekly, obviously the Premier is going to track the big whales and the big spenders in the hobby, but there's not a lot of hockey cards typically in the Premier. There's a lot more hockey cards in the Weekly. And so I wonder if I'm in this buyer card owner's situation, if I might not prefer the Weekly, just because I think there's 7 cards in the Premier auction this month that are hockey cards. And that might tilt me towards the Weekly, but that's just a theory.
Now, I want to just totally change the topic away from hockey cards for a moment here. I need your and everyone else's advice. I'm looking at a card in this auction tonight that I'm really thinking about putting a bid in. I want to get your thoughts on it. 1949 Leaf, Sam Baugh, PSA 5. I'm considering making a play on this card, you guys. It's hard. I know it's not really so easy to see. It's on my phone, but the centering is the only thing that isn't great about it. But it's a 5 and it's affordable. It's like under $300 right now. And I don't think anyone here watching is going to bid me up on it. That's why I'm sharing this. But let me know. What do you think? Should I make a play on this? What do you think? What do you think, Josh?
I don't know a lot about Sammy Baugh. He was the Redskins quarterback, right?
I believe so. And he's,
I just don't know. The card's cool. And I love the late 40s, early 50s cards in general. So Jeremy, I'm always up for you spending money. So I say
Yeah.
yes, double, triple, quadruple your bid immediately, and buy some more video games while you're at it.
It would. There's no video games I'm into this time, but it would go great with my Otto Graham rookie I picked up at the Toronto Expo. So, and sorry guys, I have to pay attention to it because it's been extended to the next window. So I'm going to consider that card. Card guy says I love that card. I saw it and was drawn to it. Love the colors. Back off, card guy. I'm gonna go for it. No, I'm just kidding. You go for it if you want, but thank you. Okay. Let's go on now to page 2 of the cards that we're looking at. And right out of the gate, one of my favorites, the 2015 Connor McDavid Precious Metal Gems Red Rookie Year card. Good. It's better than a rookie card for me because his rookie card is a parallel to this, which I have no interest in. This one itself is numbered to 150. This is like RC plus to me. PSA 8, it's at $2,800 right now. I love these cards. I own a copy of this. Mine is graded higher, but big fan. Jack Eichel, the Cup Gold RPA. Now, this is the one that is not autographed. This is the one that actually came out of the Cup in 2015-16 when Upper Deck didn't have an autograph deal with him. So this is sort of, you have to decide what you like. Do you want this card that came out in his rookie year? Or do you want the version of this card that was made back in 2016, but waited until Upper Deck could actually get him to sign it a couple years later and then insert it in the 2018 packs or whenever they came out? But this is a pretty cool card, $750, numbered out of 12, BGS 95. I mean, doesn't get much better than that for a rookie card for a player, only if this was autographed. And then finally, a Connor McDavid signature patch rookie year from the Cup out of 99. 2-color patch, BGS 8.5, $4,800. I'm going to open this up, Josh, and just take a peek at that autograph. It's graded a 10, but let's look at it for ourselves. Yeah, the autograph looks very nice outside of the streakiness of this one stroke right there, but we see this so much. I just don't know if that's punishable by the grading company. That's why I'm not a fan of autograph grading, but nonetheless, it's a rookie year RPA. I think we can call it that. It's not a rookie card patch auto, but it's a rookie patch auto. Josh, what do you think of go back here? What do you think of all these cards?
I love the McDavid PMG, and one of the things I really appreciate about this particular year and the Fleer showcase, I guess, take on the PMG is, we're so conditioned to the 97 retro look for PMG that it's kind of fun to see a little bit of different design every now and again. And so I really like that aspect of this card. I think the Eichel is a really nice looking card too. And it's a shame that they didn't have the auto agreement, because an auto would look really great on the card. But I think Upper Deck did a good job of compensating for that. And then on the McDavid Cup card, it's really nice. It's cool. I like that. On one hand, I guess I like that it exists because it's a much cheaper alternative to a Cup RPA. But I talk about this on our show a lot, where the way my mind works, I need to have like order, and I need to understand where things fit in. And this is more a comment on like the signature patches subset, I guess. It's like, what's the point of it? I don't understand. It's like, what's the difference between this and his RPA as an example?
Yeah.
It was just another way to get another 99 patch autos in there by coming up with the signature patches title to the card, or I don't really understand.
I can tell you why. I can tell you exactly why they do it. So the simple explanation on Upper Deck's behalf is it's a case hit. So they can now produce more product because that's a case hit. That's the reason. Number two, it's more product for the offering. Now, instead of only 99 people getting happy with it, you get another 99 people that can be happy with it. And the other thing is that it's not part of a rookie-only checklist, as you would know. The signature patches, they've changed the name of them now, but they're not called signature patches anymore. But the signature patches contain veterans, retired players, all sorts of different players. So Upper Deck's like, well, we may as well include McDavid because that'll be a case hit, and Crosby and whoever else. Whereas your typical David Perron signature patch it's not a case hit. It's probably not even a pack hit. It's just an auto patch. So I think that's the reason why. Okay, are you good? Can I go to some comments?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Card Guy says, I won't be bidding. You are safe. Mitch says he's held that card in person. It is beautiful if the color is good. Again, we're now talking about the Sammy Baugh 48 Leaf card. Mitch says it seriously pops. Giamaz says, don't bid on that Sammy Baugh. I'm bidding on it. But then says he's kidding. He has a PSA 3, looks like a 5, and well-centered. Yeah, see, maybe I should wait for a better centered copy. Newfie Sig says, Eichel finally having a chance at the playoffs and looking good. He's no McDavid, obviously, but can he salvage his career and actually live up to the original hype? That's a great question, and I think maybe he can. He wasn't successful in Buffalo. He's in Vegas now. Was injured for like a year. Maybe he's finally going to get his legs under him and start to realize that potential. I'd love to see it happen. The Currency Project, who sold a beautiful Tiger Woods rookie with in a Klimt design today. Congratulations on your sale, guys. Says, I'd want the RPA Eichel if they were printed in 15-16 but released in 18. Does that change their rookie status? I don't think it's going to matter in the long run because on the back of the card, it still says 2015-16. So I don't think it's going to matter, even though I think the purists might think it should. I think Mitch would probably think it should. He says, last thing I'll say on the Baugh, he's probably the biggest name in that whole set besides Sid Luckman. Thank you, Mitch, for fueling the fire for me to make a play. It's had 2 bids since I brought it up. I wonder if that's a coincidence. All right, let's keep on going here. I've got a few minutes here. Yeah, I'm going to give it a couple minutes here. All right, we're on to Connor McDavid row here, guys. It's not his rookie. Oh, this is the 49. It's not his rookie. Thank you, Giamaz. It's not his rookie. See, this is where I care about a rookie card. For vintage, I want the rookie. Okay, interesting. Thank you. All right. What does Mitch say? Jeremy, do you know that the signed Eichel RPA cards were actually printed? Well, Mitch, I looked at the back of one and it's like in the small text, it says 2016. So I'm guessing they printed them and just saved them for when they could get him to sign them. Okay. McDavid row, guys. We have 2 BGS 9.5 Young Guns and a Young Gun canvas in a BGS 10 Pristine. Keep in mind, BGS 10 Pristines are much easier to get on canvas cards than regular Young Guns just because of the quality with which they are produced. But here we have ones at 12 1/4, ones at 11.50. We're going to open these up and just take a look at the subgrades of these two and see how they measure up. So the first one is a true gem, all 4 9.5s. And the second one is a true gem plus with the centering, getting that extra half point. Is it worth it? Can we tell the difference? Well, coming back to this one, I'm looking at this white thing right here, guys. I'm looking at this. Actually, a better place is like the R and the A on the boards here in the stick. And even over here, this little bit of the, whatever that is, the edge of an S or something. You've got more of it here on the 9.5 than you do here on the 10. So they are centered differently. Top to bottom look to be, so this one, the 10 is situated higher. I'm looking at the bit of yellow above this lady's head. Very little bit of yellow there, whereas here you're getting a little bit, but a bit more. So they are centered differently. I don't know which is right. Doesn't matter. It's so minor. Who really cares on this card? They're both centered really well. I would probably, if you're not if you don't want to pay extra for that extra half a point out of 40, I would just grab this one and save a few bucks, but it's up to you, of course. And then there's this one sold. Look at that. The BGS 10 canvas sold for $13.50. Josh, your thoughts on these 3 McDavid Young Guns?
Well, I love that they're all in a row, and I love that they're within, $100, a couple $100, all roughly the same price. And we talked about this a lot on our show last Thursday. This particularly the canvas McDavid BGS 10. Well, first of all, he's showing emotion in the photo, which is
Yeah.
kind of funny for Connor McDavid. And I really like the card. But here's like I think the main point I would have about the canvas card. So that you're right, it is easier to get a BGS 10 in a canvas card. The pop is 110, and there's 6 higher. So there are 6 black label canvas BGS 10s. If you compare that though to the base Young Guns to the left, there's 7,500 of those, and then another 2,500 for PSA 10. So you'd have to ask yourself if scarcity is the number one driver of like value and chase in sports cards collecting, which card would you rather have? And I may be just different, but 10 times out of 10, I'm buying the canvas, which has a pop of 110 versus a combined pop of 10,000 for the same, literally the same price.
Yeah. I hear where you're coming from. The next, and that makes perfect sense. If that's the analysis and those are the criteria, perfect sense. The next piece of criteria for myself when I was collecting Young Guns of certain players was I don't love the canvas stock myself. I don't
Sure.
love the canvas card stock. I also, it's a horizontal card. Imagine if that was a vertical card. I think it would be more popular. Just
Maybe.
and listen, there are some great horizontal cards in our hobby. Bobby Orr, Jacques Plante, to name a couple. But and maybe this is just, maybe I'm just, picking at something that isn't even there. But I just wonder. I'm just asking the question, how much more popular, if at all, would it be if it was a vertical canvas Young Gun? But I'm with you from a purely scarcity or just availability population perspective. Yeah, this is the better card.
Well, and then if you play that concept forward and you think about, okay, we're going to roughly 11 months from now, 10 months from now, Series 2 comes out. We have Bedard Young Guns. And it's sort of the mentality of how a collector or investor, or wherever you fit in that spectrum, the stuff we should be thinking about to prepare. Because if the McDavid combined pop between BGS and PSA 10's 10,000, imagine what Bedard's going to be 2 years from now. Mm-hmm. And how do you, if you really want to be in on the Bedard hockey card sweepstakes, picking and choosing like cards that you think over the long haul may not be completely diluted because of crazy enormous pop cuts.
Yeah, no, agreed. All right. Mitch asks, back to Sammy Baugh in football. Am I going crazy? I'm looking up 48 Leaf Sammy Baugh and 49 Leaf, and they look exactly the same. I actually think that they're mislabeled or that they've changed when they think it is. Because I'm Mitch, I'm looking at that too at the back of the cards, and the backs look to be the exact same as well. They are. They're the exact same. Oh no, they're not the exact same. They are not the exact same, Mitch. They are not. The front is the same, but the back isn't. So there's the answer to that. Okay. Yelia says, why are horizontal cards less desirable? I think it's just a personal choice thing. It's really, I think just I've just heard a lot of people say I like vertical cards. And Newfie says, doesn't the industry consider the regular Young Guns their true rookie? If enough believe that, it will affect resale. Yeah, but I think that I do think that the canvas are considered true rookies too. Are they not? Maybe they're not. Maybe I don't know. I don't really care what the industry considers anyway. Like for me, but it's still important for many people. So, yeah. But you're right. Newfie is right, because I was under the assumption that the canvas is considered a rookie card, like RC, and I think that's the case, but maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm overlooking something. All right, let's keep going. Here we have some Austin Matthews cards right here. Well, one card we have is Cup RPA, currently at $8,000, needs a bid to go into the next window. Connor McDavid, Upper Deck Premier. This is a chest logo, a mega patch, numbered out of 20, sold for $1,800. And $65 for the Lawson Krause 1-of-1 auto from the Cup. What's something? I don't know. That seems like an absolute steal because he's not a horrible player. Like the guy had a decent season, I think, unless I'm confusing him with somebody else. I'm surprised that went so cheap. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Love the big McDavid patch. I'm a sucker for hand numbered cards. I know some people don't like them, but I really do, and just love any of them. I wish there was a third color in there. Is that being greedy? I don't know. And the it's hard to go wrong with the Austin Matthews RPA, true rookie, I guess, theme of the day. And then I don't know. I know who Lawson Krause is. I'm not sure what type of season he had, but for a 1-of-1 cup auto, that's a 9/5/10. That seems like a pretty good buy.
It really does to me too. I mean, everybody should be buying this card for $65. All right, let's keep on going. 3 cards that have now sold. 3. We have 3 Austin Matthews. That's right. The Ultimate Rookie patch auto, numbered out of 49. This is I like. Listen, $2,310. This card is out of 49. $9,600. This card's out of 99. So the difference being the size of the patch and the name of the brand. This is the cup, and this is Ultimate. I think there's good value in this card here for about 20% of the price. Young Gun 9.5 does $432, and his Upper Deck Premier RPA with I call this a weak 2-color patch, a little bit of blue right over here in the corner, does $1,350. Josh, what are your thoughts on these, and maybe related to my comments on the Ultimate versus the cup?
I think the Ultimate is a really great card, and let me be controversial again. If today is my first day in the hobby and you just hand me those raw cards and I don't know what the cup is or what Ultimate is, and you ask me to pick which one I want, I think the Ultimate is a better looking card than the cup RPA. So I agree that that's a great value. The picture's better. He's got a little bit of the Leafs jersey. You can see the logo on it. The patch is more interesting. I really, really, really like the design of that card. And for $2,300, I think that's a great buy.
Yeah, the one question I would have then is related to, is this game worn or event worn or photo shoot worn? And same with the cup. Is this photo shoot, game worn, event worn? Let's open it up and just take a quick look at the back of the cup RPA. These are things that Mitch knows off the top of his head. It says being used in a photo shoot. So the cup is a photo shoot piece, whereas the Ultimate, I'm going to guess, is the same thing, but let's take a quick look at that one and see if it says anything different. Photo shoot. So they're both photo shoots, so no difference there. Okay, interesting. And they've all sold anyway, so let's keep on going. These 3 have sold as well. We had a dual honorable numbers with Patrick Laine and Leon Draisaitl, 29/29, $444. Not rookie year. That was the year before for Laine, and then 3 years earlier or 4 years earlier for Draisaitl. Pretty cool card. I think that's a steal. I think someone got a great card here at $444. And then we had 2 Gem Mint 10 Elias Pettersson Young Guns. They both did, one sold for $120, one sold for $132. Not much of a difference there, but fun to look at. Anything from you on these 3 cards, Josh?
I like the honorable numbers. I think that's cool. Really kind of neat card if you like dual player cards. Not other than the same number. Seems a little strange to have Draisaitl and Laine, but I don't know. Maybe that's me. And then Pettersson is one of those guys who keeps getting better. He had a real good year on a horrible team in a terrible situation last year. And so he's kind of in that hobby Bermuda Triangle right now, where it feels like on one hand he deserves more hobby attention, but it's, I think it's more team related than anything else.
And that could change. That could change one year to the next, right? 100%. So we will see. All right, then we have his teammate, Quinn Hughes, Jack Hughes' brother, defenseman for the Vancouver Canucks. We have a PSA 10 that sold for $91 and a BGS 9.5 that's at $40. you're often not going to find much difference between a BGS 9.5 and a PSA 10, but do look at those cards individually, examine them, and see if you can decide for yourself that the BGS 9.5 is just a better value for the card, if that's the way you think. Some people want that PSA 10, and I get that too. A lot of people, it's not me, but a lot of people do operate that way. And then we had a Cale Makar Young Gun canvas, PSA 10, did $240. Josh, anything you'd like to say about Quinn Hughes or the Makar canvas?
Quinn Hughes, another guy, obviously on Vancouver, a little bit, the team struggle, but he had a really good, I think the challenge with him and hobby values is always going to be, he doesn't tend to score a lot of goals. And he does produce points, but like 10, 11 kind of goals per year is kind of, I think, where he's been at. So we'll have to see if that improves. And I really like the Makar Young Guns canvas. To me, I think that's a really nice design card.
I agree. And here we have a vertical canvas versus the McDavid horizontal, just to point that out. No special reason. This card actually looks very shiny. The colors are really popping for a canvas cardstock card. So yeah, I agree. Very nice card. Maybe the nicest canvas Young Gun that I've seen, to my taste anyway. All right, continuing along. The Rubies, Tim Stützle, out of 50, rookie year card out of 50. In a PSA 9 does $150. I love this card. I pulled the jersey number copy of it. And to me, these are my favorite rookie cards. Among my favorite rookie year cards are these Rubies. So someone stole this, I think, at 150, maybe not relative to comp, but relative to what I value them at. McDavid Signature Unis home version, one of the new insert sets from the Cup this year, numbered out of 35, authenticated by MBA, which is an in-house service. Mike Baker, in-house at PWCC now, I believe. So in one of their oversized top loaders here with the MBA sticker, certified authentic. I mean, I don't know how they need it, but I don't know how necessary it is for that. I don't think it adds any value. It just literally tells you that it's been through his eyes. Number 23 of 35. Nice enough card, sold for $780. And a J-Rob, I think we have two of these here. No, we don't. Just the one. J-Rob Young Gun PSA 10 did 192. Josh, over to you on these three cards.
Well, I'll start with Stützle. He's one of the big guys that I'm looking at this summer when it's buying season. And what I would challenge anyone to do that may question what his potential is go back and look at his year, at his goals and point production and his age, and compare it to almost anybody at that same age, and your mind will be blown how he produced compared to Austin Matthews or Draisaitl even, or some of these other guys at, what was he, 20 years old this year or something like that. It's crazy how now will we keep moving up the ladder? We'll have to see, but it's really, really impressive when you kind of dig into the numbers when it comes to Stützle. And then, as already been mentioned, he's also on a young, up-and-coming, exciting team. So I think there's going to be no Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool association, unfortunately, but there's going to be a lot of tension on that team. So I agree with you that that's a really good buy. And then I'll make a comment on the Robertson. This card to me has been really interesting as Young Guns. So he really kind of exploded in early December when not that he had played bad before, or he wasn't, but the hobby just seemed to catch on to him and Tage Thompson really right around the same time. And the values of this card exploded and the pop count really exploded. So it went from maybe 100 PSA 10s or 150 last November to, I think, just crossed 1,000 now. But what makes this card interesting to me over the long haul is not only do I think he's a really good, very young, talented player, but the gem rate is 31%. And when we talk about Young Guns, you get like Rope Hintz, we're going, his teammate, 81% gem rate on his Young Guns. That's a card I'm staying away from. I'm going to look at an OPG Platinum or some other rookie card but when you get in that, you have Robertson, Cole Caulfield, Trevor Zegras, any of these guys that you believe in that have these Series 1, which typically has had lower gem rates, at 31%, that's going to protect the pop count over time.
I think that's a low percent compared to a lot of the percentages I have heard you and Troy talk about on the Gong Show podcast. I mean, you guys are always talking about gem rate, a very important metric to pay attention to. So that's encouraging for the J-Rob. And, you know, it's funny, like if he was as hot as Matthew Tkachuk was these playoffs, this would probably have sold for what, 50% more, $300, $350,
Sure.
$400 even. And that could happen 2 days from now. You know, you just never know. So, all right. And the final two cards that I had selected with Josh's approval, the Kirill Kaprizov sold for $228, about $4,000 less than his partner Troy paid for his copy. I'm just kidding.
No, it's true.
Maybe $1,500 less. And then this card, I think it's a cool looking card. This Gretzky. I'm not crazy about the uniform he's in, but there is a Ruby's parallel out of 50 of this card, which I thought this was when I first looked at it. And then I realized, well, it's not that. But I also looked at the label here. I'm going to open this up for a quick second. Luckily, PWCC didn't make the same mistake that Beckett did. But Beckett says gold auto right here. Metal Universe Champions, Skybox Premium Gold Auto. And there's no auto on the card. So I actually thought to myself, well, maybe it was meant to have an autograph, but it doesn't. So I thought, well, let's look at the back, because it would say you'd get a congratulatory message on the back. There's no congratulations on the back of this either. So just a mistake by Beckett, a minor mistake. Who cares? No big deal, really. I wouldn't hold that against them. But if you really want everything, you want your T's crossed and your I's dotted, you might send that one back in for reslab. But only sold for $10. You can't even grade it for that much. So no big deal. All right. We've gone through everything. I believe most of the cards have sold. Let's do a quick run through here. Everything here is sold. This one, Quinn Hughes, is still going. These are sold. These are sold. These are sold. These are sold. And those are sold. So page 2, I'm going to close it up. I'm going to close this guy up. And on page 1, I'm just going to make sure let's just rush up to the top here. The Bobby Orr sold for $3,000 for the 1.5. I think that's a good price for a good card. $960 on the Sittler, $300 or $396 on the Bobby Orr. The unopened pack. Did the Loud Collector win this? If you did, I want to see you open it. That'd be a lot of fun. The second year Gretzky PSA 9 did $1,800. The Chelios PSA 10 did $1,200. So the Lemieux is still going at $18, but the Gretzky sold for $27. The Gretzky Sports Illustrated, $216. This patch card, Lemieux did $312. These are the Crosby McDonald's rookie did $80, and the Lemieux SI for kids is still going at $88 right now. The PSA 10, that's a good pickup. Like, it's not very expensive. I think that's a cool pickup for somebody. What's going on here? So these two Ovechkins are still alive. The SPA Auto, the Ultimate Patch, Crosby Young Gun, BGS 9 did $960, and the 295 did $1380 and $1230, where his Ink Upper Deck Ink sold for $870. Carey Price did $480. Steve Stamkos sold for $156. Seems like good value compared to what some of the younger guys are selling for. The Lemieux Auto got $516. Nugent Hopkins, look at that, $150 for this. Now, there aren't any I thought something looked funny with this earlier. Someone opted out of the subgrades, which I think does hurt the value of the card, right? Yeah. Bobby Orr does $265, $25,200 on the Connor McDavid Exquisite RPA. That's a good, healthy number. So that's what everything's sold for so far. Only a couple things left. Nothing of too much of a consequence besides these two cards right here are both great cards. And this one might be over in 8 seconds if it doesn't get another bid in the next 4 seconds. Now let's see if this thing is going to be officially sold or if someone is going to further their efforts in a bidding war. And it did get a bid, so it is not sold. It's going to go into the next window with a bid. Josh, I'm going to refresh this so we'll only see the cards remaining. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. We will only see the cards that are still in action here tonight. That of the 47 or so that Josh and I looked at, there's 5 that are still going. These 5 here are still going, and this one just got another bid. Beautiful patch on this card. Let's go to some comments while we're letting this thing tick away. TI, Josh, let us know. Lawson Krause had 24 goals, 21 assists. I mean, it's not a horrible year. Not a horrible year for someone that nobody's bidding on.
Is that Troy? I think that's Troy.
Oh, that is, yeah, Troy. That is Troy, isn't it?
Thanks, Troy.
Thanks, Troy. It's nice to have Troy work in the background for us. Mitch says this is in reference to the Austin Matthews Cup RPA. He says 16-17 is right up there with 09-10 for the most bland RPA design for me. I agree with that they are bland, but I don't think to me, it's not a bad thing. I like that clean look, and I really like the 09-10 design, which may be the most bland of all. Mitch also says both of those Austin Matthews RPAs should be photo shoot, which we did confirm after that. He goes on to tell us that the only game used for Austin Matthews would be limited logos, premier mega patches, and notable nameplates. Thank you. Not My Chair is talking about a jambalaya. We didn't look at a jambalaya. Not sure which one. There was an achievement, I believe. Maybe it was
it a Malkin?
Was it a Malkin?
I think so.
I'm not sure.
We could look it up.
Well, why don't we do this then? Why don't I just unstart? No, it's too late now. Too late. It'll be... Yeah, we're not going to go look at that right now. Cards AH says, evening, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Troy says, I'm in the top 5% or 10% for price paid for Kaprizov Young Guns. Sad. That's so funny. Didn't even know he was there. I was trying to talk about him behind his back, and then he peeps out and says,
no, Troy's always lurking, Jeremy. You got to know that, Troy.
I know. And he knows I'm just having fun. Cards AH, surprised some of these weren't in premier auction. How was that decided? Yeah, I think those are conversations between the consignor and their PWCC rep. That's all I can tell you about that. Cards AH. All right, let's see what's going on here. We have 2 minutes to the next window, and it looks like we can go on a little bit more. This card is not going to sell it's at $23. Not sure that's going to get to 50, although I think it's an awesome copy of the card. $90 on the PSA 10, 1993. My question on this card, and I don't know, is this his first SI for Kids card? Like, is this his SI for Kids rookie card, which I don't think is the right way to say it. But do you have any idea, Josh, or would you be asking the same question?
I'm looking it up right now, so I'll get back to you shortly.
Thank you. And then we've got this is a beautiful card for a rookie year Ovechkin auto out of 250 for $1,250. For anybody who might be thinking about this card, I'm going to try to convince you to bid on it if you are okay with the grade. And here's what I mean by that. His Young Gun in an 8.5 is what? $2,000, $1,500, $2,000. There's no shortage of his Young Guns. This is an on-card auto numbered out of 250. I mean, how is this not worth more than a Young Gun?
Well, the Young Guns PSA 10's $5,000.
What's a BGS 8.5? 1,500? 2,000 maybe?
Probably 2,000, I would think.
And this is at $1,250 right now. Now this is $1,250 plus buyer's premium, so it's actually at $1,500 already. Now, this to me is a much more desirable card than his Young Gun. Call me crazy, call me unconventional, non-traditional, maybe not a sheep in this case. Maybe I'm a sheep in some other cases, but not this case. I think this is a buy. Okay, maybe we just got a bid. It just went to $1,275. And I would not sit here. I never try to sell a card to benefit PWCC. That's just not why I do these shows. It's not what I invited Josh to partner with me on these shows to do. We are not here trying to encourage anybody to bid or buy certain cards. However, I'm going to make the odd exception when I really think a card is a great value. And now the consignor of this card should be thanking me right now because they might, right? But for me, this card is, I don't know, undervalued. That's where I'm coming from. This card is undervalued.
Well, I think the challenge with cards like this is that it goes back to all the variety and variation and people not understanding where they fit in the lexicon of cards. And you really you look at a Young Guns, and we kind of have that immediate, it's the Young Guns, Future Watch Auto, and Cup RPA, right? It's like we know, okay, I immediately that these are the highly desired, sought after cards. And for some of these, I think that you don't see real often, or you'd have to look. And I don't even know in 2005 how many different rookie autos that Upper Deck produced about for Ovechkin. And maybe it just comes down to that just somebody doesn't understand really. It's hard to understand how rare and special a card like this actually is.
I think that's it. It's not a card you see a lot. It's not mainstream, but I love you got the full body shot. The on-card auto doesn't hurt. Again, yeah. I think now, if this thing ends up selling for $4,000, I would still be like, well, that makes sense to me, but it's not undervalued anymore the way it is right now. So we've gone up from $1,250. It's gone up $100 since we started talking about this card. And I hope it's someone in the audience that is like, seeing the value that we are seeing, or that at least I'm seeing. I think you agree with me on this, Josh. I hope there's someone out there. It's one of you guys watching, because I think you're going to get a great deal, and I'll be very happy for you and not feel like I said anything to misguide anybody. So just my thoughts. Lapper says, Jeremy, don't you dare try and use logic. I mean, that's like logic dictates that this card is much cooler than a Young Gun for me anyway. So, all right, we're going to stop. I'm not going to say anything more about it.
I think the point we're making, though, which again, to me makes the part of the magic or the unexplicable part of the hobby, is that sometimes in the hobby, logic doesn't make sense or doesn't apply, or it may make sense, but it doesn't matter. Is a better way to put it, where it's the same, like in the Cup RPA out of 99 is worth more than a Cup patch auto out of 10. It's like, how do you logically explain that? You really can't. And that's kind of cool in some ways.
Yeah, and I think part of that is it's just a timing thing. That's right now. And there was a time when that Connor McDavid red PMG was selling for $100 and his Young Gun was selling for $400. Now that red PMG is more than the Young Gun. I believe it is anyway. So my point here is that things do change and evolve. And this is I talk about being savvy. I think the savvy collector who thinks about the investment potential of their cards or the value potential of their cards is going to look at this and say, okay, everybody else is missing this right now, except the other bidders of it. They're just not clued into a card like this. But down the road, when people are going to become more and more analytical of the cards they are buying, I think that this card would win out. So, it's a time thing. You're right, Josh. Just because it's logical, makes sense, doesn't mean that that's what the hobby is going to deem important or deem worthy of their bids. But as time goes by, trends change, opinions of certain things change. And if you want to be savvy and maybe thinking ahead, this is the kind of card that I think. Now, the other thing that could happen is that the Young Gun comes down in value to meet this versus this going up in value. Either thing could happen. That just depends on lots of factors. So, all right.
Lemieux, Jeremy, there is an 89 SI for kids, Mario Lemieux.
See, that's important to me. That would keep me away from bidding on this one because I don't need every Lemieux SI for kids, but I wouldn't mind his first one. Same with Gretzky's. I don't have them yet, but I would be interested in picking them up at some point. Cards AH says different hobby strokes. Yeah, I think it is that Cards AH, but I wonder how much of it is just people that maybe, don't know the full scope of cards available. And that's not a knock against anybody. It's not a knock against them. It's literally just, what do you know? What are you aware of? What's in your peripheral? And, you're maybe just not aware of it. So it comes down, I think, again, to that savvy comment. And if you're a savvy collector, I think that this card is going to win out. And seeing as, let's see, The Ovechkin Ultimate Patch sold for $1,110. Beautiful card. I love this card set. I love this design in all the sports, actually. Really nice card. So that has sold. And the Lemieux box bottom sold for $40. So we are down now to 3 cards. Lemieux SI for kids keeps on getting bids. And the Ovechkin is up to $1,450, up $200 since we started talking about it. And the Quinn Hughes Young Gun is at $64. Let's see what Lapper says. He says, totally agree with your guys' take. My comment was tongue-in-cheek. I know it was, Lapper. When that OV pops up in 20 years and they're all stashed in vaults, you have to think it will command a premium to Young Gun at that time. Exactly my thoughts, Lapper. We are thinking exactly the same. And by the way, I knew 100% your comment was tongue-in-cheek. So yeah, I agree 100%. In 20 years, they're all stashed. You have to think it will command a premium to Young Gun at that time. If you're savvy and you're thinking ahead 10, 20 years, I agree with Lapper on that completely. And then Cards AH says, I think it has to do with wanting to collect, also wanting to invest, and seeing commodity cards leads people to want to collect and invest in the highest moving cards. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's liquidity, how the volume of transactions, the velocity of these things moving. And Cards AH is right. Young Guns are the most commoditized cards. They are the most liquid. They have the highest velocity. You're going to see, you can go on the PWCC Marketplace or the other big one, the eBay, or probably others as well, and find these Young Guns of these players anytime you want. So Cards AH makes a great point there. Something to keep in mind. But this has to do with, again, just because those things are happening doesn't mean that it's the savvy way. And I'm all into being savvy, guys. All right. So 2 cards left now. This Ovechkin and this Quinn Hughes. Oh, no, it's sold. Sorry. We're down to 1 card. This Ovechkin right here. Card of the night for me is this one right here, Josh. Like, this is my favorite card in the auction. Obviously, I love that Bobby Orr rookie and some others, but this is my favorite card to talk about right now. How about you?
Yeah, it's either this one or I still really like that. Was it the Austin Matthews RPA was Ultimate?
Yeah.
Those would be and just to piggyback on your last comment, I think that when you look at like, okay, why are Young Guns so popular? Why are they so valuable? Is that the value is understood because they are so available. You can buy a Connor McDavid Young Guns any hour of any day. And I think when you get to the point of a card where you have to explain the value to someone, that you're a leg down in kind of your effort to get the maximum price or something like that for a card, or get people to understand or have demand to buy it, because just Young Guns values are just so understood because they are so available.
Yeah, that's very, very true. All right, well, this guy is sitting at $1,550. If there is no bid placed in the next 16 seconds, it will be sold. So let's actually close this. Oh, that was my last window and I closed it by mistake. Hold on a second. Oh, I messed up, guys. I'm sorry. I thought that it opened a new window for me. So I'm going to get back in there, and we are going to look at that one more time before we wrap up the episode for tonight, because we're just about done here. I did not mean to do that. My apologies. But we're going to go to my favorites, and we're going to go to hockey. Oh, we're going to go to hockey. It is sold. The item did sell.
Okay.
So, and we're going to go to my favorites, hockey. Sorry, you guys can't see what I'm doing here, but here we go. And closed. All right. So let me just bring this back up for one more minute, Josh. We are going to wrap this thing up, though. Ooh, I just need to go to there now. All right. So let's do this and bring it back. All right. So here we have everything that's sold, but we're just going to scroll down to the Ovechkin auto. Here it is. Sold for $1,860 after buyer's premium. When we started talking about it, it was at $1,250, so it would have been $1,500. Sold, got some more bids. I don't know if that has anything to do with us talking about it or not, I hope it does. I hope someone here won it. But 1860. Now, we didn't have an Ovechkin Young Gun in this auction, I don't think, which was a rare card, a rare occurrence of that. But look, it at least is sold for more than the Crosby Young Guns did. Yeah, it sold for more than all 3 Crosby Young Guns did. So I'm glad to see that. I think it's worth. I think it deserves it. So very, very good. Currency Project says that Ovi patch is awesome. Looks like an inverted part of the Capitol building. That's exactly what it is. Newfie says there's lots of history to Young Guns. They went on hiatus for a bit, but started in 1990. Yeah, they did start in 1990 with the Sergei Fedorov being the big one there. But yeah, there's something to that, Newfie said. Definitely something to that. Professor lost the Ovechkin. Sorry to hear that, Professor, but at least he gave it a run. All right. Well, Josh, another week of the PWCC hockey auction has come to an end for us here tonight. But that was fun. Lots of good cards. Lots of good talk. Thank you to the chat, everybody, for your input and the facts that you put out to us. Really appreciate it. I don't know if anybody noticed, but my Teemu Selanne jersey is now in a jersey display case hanging up over there. Yeah.
Very nice.
Courtesy of Pather Plastics. You see Pather set up at the Expo in Toronto, and Mr. Neville from Pather Plastics gave me a jersey display case, and I put my Selanne in there. I'm going to get another one. I'm going to put my Jets jersey right on this wall here. I'm going to take those 2 autographed pictures down and put my other one over there. So anyway, that's it, Josh. Anything you'd like to mention before I mention my upcoming episodes?
No, just an episode of the Gong Show tomorrow morning, 3 a.m. Eastern time. And
set your alarms.
Yeah, set your alarms. And then just looking forward to watching more playoff games.
Awesome. Yeah, same here. So no show for me tomorrow. Tuesday night is episode 2 of Taking Stock with Dennis Zender. We will be taking stock on the issues with considering your cards to be investments. And then on Thursday is the PWCC Premier Auction with myself and Adam Gray. And then next Saturday, Sports Cards Live. Our guest will be none other than Al G. Mr. G's, I'm not sure if his Instagram handle is actually off the top of my head, but we will get it done. We'll get it out there. But Al is a great guy. He's been on some of the recent Instagram collectors roundtables on the Essential Credentials YouTube channel. Mitch is leading some of those discussions, Grotman Cards. So check all those upcoming episodes going on. Appreciate that. Mitch says the only card I was bidding on was the Lemieux Premier patch, but you lost. Awesome, Mitch. Sorry you lost, but good to hear. Thank you very much, Mitch. Thank you so much, Name. Always appreciate seeing you. You too, Aaron. Good to see you, buddy. Why were you at Expo, Aaron? What happened? Thought you'd be at Expo. Thank you, Mr. Troy Iverson, Mr. Kirill Kaprizov. Always good to see you, Troy, and to hear your voice on the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. All right. I think we're done. Josh?
All right. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you, Josh, for joining. Thank you, everyone in the chat. This episode is now